You're listening to the Nature's Image Farm podcast. I'm your host, Greg Burns, and we're talking bees, homesteading, and the old-time ways. This episode is brought to you by HIVE wax-dipped equipment. No paint, no rot, no hassle. HIVE, built to endure. Now, on to the show. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another Stream Team Beekeeping Chat. I've got the CFO, the CEO, and the MRS of Nature's Image Farm here with me tonight. And of course, our pal, Bruce.
Also the BOSS.
The BOSS, that's for sure.
Yes, that's right.
Keeping me in line here tonight. Of course, our pal, Bruce, Jenny from the Bruce's Bees YouTube channel down there in Dothan, Alabama. And our friend Brian Koper here from Castle Hives from Northeast Ohio will be joining us a little bit later on tonight. Bruce, thanks for joining us again for another Stream Team Beekeeping Chat.
It's good to be here.
Well, I want to thank everyone for spending some time with us tonight. It's always a lot of fun talking about bees. We get to be this late in the year, and a lot of folks, they start to just kind of completely burn out. They get a little bit tired of talking about bees. They get a little bit tired of hearing about bees. They get a little bit tired of working their bees. They get a little bit tired of thinking about bees.
I think you already said that one.
And here we are. Bruce, give us an update on how things are looking for you and the bees in Dothan, Alabama.
This past weekend, we went up to North Carolina, and so I haven't been in them in a couple of weeks. Well, I guess about 10 days, so I'm not sure how they're looking, but this weekend I'm going to have to get out there and see how they're doing. Last time I checked on them, they were doing pretty good. 10 days ago, I went out to Honey Hill Farm and just checked those bees, and they were looking really good. They had a few beetle problems, but not as many as they had the previous time because I had put the hammer down on some beetles out there. So, but I do need to get in all the rest of my bees, just kind of checking on them. I need to get the Roxanne strips out and just kind of do some quick checks on them and see how they're doing. I hope they're doing good. I think they probably are. We've actually had a little dry spell. We were getting rain like every day, it seemed like, and then the last probably 8 or 10 days we haven't gotten much at all, and so everything's starting to dry. It's amazing how fast it can go from green and lush to kind of grass cracking under your feet when you walk on it.
It's about the same here. We were really hoping it was going to be a really nice flow. We had a lot of early moisture that I think was setting up a lot of these plants to be successful. We've just had no rain for about 3 weeks. We got some rain coming hopefully tomorrow throughout most of the day, right at the time that the third and final variety of goldenrod is getting ready to bloom here. So if we are blessed with a good soaking rain, maybe, just maybe, we'll have some goldenrod starting to produce. Today, I just barely got here on time, was working one of the out yards of, there's about 48 colonies there. And that yard was a little weird on how things finished out. But I'm just starting to smell some goldenrod start to pack in some of those supers there. So I think it's starting. We're at the very beginning part of that flow. So ready or not, winter's coming. And the goldenrod, the very end of the season that we've sort of been looking toward, is knocking at the door. So now we got to be extremely smart about kind of all the moves that we make. That's why I've got the boss here. Morning powwows and making sure that we're moving everything kind of in that same direction. Suze, what do you think? Do you think we're ready for winter as far as the bees go?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm ready for winter.
Are our bees ready for winter?
They will be by the end of the week.
Yeah.
Right, Greg?
That's what I keep saying. We'll see if it actually pans out that way. But Bruce, what are some things that you're doing right now with your bees to kind of inch them towards the goal of them being kind of wrapped up for this year?
Well, I don't know that they ever really are wrapped up completely down here because we don't have the cold weather for days on end or even weeks on end or months on end like you guys do. So we're always having to peek in on them. But what I need to do is go through and just check weights, see if I need to feed, see what the status is, see how they're looking space-wise. Last time I was in them, they were looking pretty good, but a lot can happen in a couple of weeks. I want to just kind of just confirm that, you know, the queens I got from both you and Zach are still plugging along, and just kind of combine some if I need to. Just kind of, I really need to do some assessments. I haven't been in them, like I say, in a couple of weeks. And so we went up to North Carolina, visited my daughter who moved up there to Fort Bragg this past weekend. It was a really good time, but I had to sacrifice a weekend when I probably should have been doing what I'm going to do this weekend. So, but it's worth it for the family, and the bees will be fine. They tend to make do pretty good on their own. Last time I was in, they were looking pretty good, and overall. So we'll see. I've been bottling up a lot of honey. We've been getting some honey orders. Had a really large, nice order from a local company here, and I got another order from another company. I got to get bottled up, and so some of these companies want the glass bottles, the Muth jars that I do, and those are more time consuming to get bottled up and prepped and made to look pretty, but they pay more for them, so it's worth it. But my plans are just to assess this weekend, go through once again, check weights, look at the population. See if I need to adjust space at all, and then just feed as needed. I'm going to try and get the Viroxan strips out. May do some mite checks and see how the mites are looking after the Viroxan testing. Speaking of that, Bob Benny did a recent study on all of his bees. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch that, Greg and Susie, but he tried the Viroxan strips, the Varroa Destructor strips from Canada, as well as the homemade oxalic acid pads. And I haven't seen, if he's put a video on the results, I haven't seen it yet, but I did see the video where they were pulling they were pulling a wash out, pulling the treatments off, washing every single colony to see what the mite load was, and then documenting it, but they didn't have the results yet. But so that's going to be interesting to see the results of that. And I'm interested to see, I just want to make sure, I hope my mites are down to a reasonable number. And so if I need to really hit them hard, I can with something else. But I just don't want them to have grown exponentially the last couple of months. That's my goal. So we'll see. We're about to find out. But that's my plan coming up. We don't really, I haven't done a lot with them the last couple of weeks, so I really don't have a report as far as how they're doing the last few days.
It's that time of year. I think a lot of folks have been the bees have been pretty much on cruise control. The summer honey's pulled. And some folks either have treatments on, or they're waiting for the goldenrod flow, or they're just still pushing hard. This year has been not a great spring flow, not a great summer flow. And I'm not really banking on a fall flow, but it sure would be nice to help put on some weight. But I think we're getting ready to just go full on and start to get some colonies fed up, so we can kind of get them into doubles. One of the neat things, I think, is you eventually start to learn and read the bees and what they're doing. And I guess the biggest blessing that I saw out of the bees tonight is what is today? September 3rd?
3rd, all day long.
All day long.
Wednesday.
And the bees are drawing comb. They're actually drawing out foundation. The foundation has been in there for 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, and they didn't touch it. And all of a sudden, in the last week, they're drawing comb this late in the year, which is great because I didn't have enough drawn comb to put on a lot of colonies. So you never know what's going to happen when you put frames and foundation and new foundation. Are they going to draw? Are you going to have to kind of coach them along with feed? But there's been enough, which tells me there's been enough of a trickle starting to come in that they are willing to go ahead and draw out some foundation. So that's pretty exciting for me. That's going to help get everything kind of filled back up.
Is that comb being drawn off of the nectar source or just off of food you have on the colonies?
Right now, it's just the nectar source. They've had feed in the boxes, but they're kind of on that like razor's edge. Like there's always been nectar around the brood, but now there's capped honey around some of the brood areas, and then they're kind of moving out and drawing things. So you got to be really careful. If I just go ahead and feed everything, what they can do is start to plug out the brood nest, and they won't brood up all the way where I need them to go. But then if we weren't seeing a lot of incoming wet nectar on the combs and there was no stored honey, we would have to feed, and it wouldn't even matter what the brood situation was, because they wouldn't have enough carbohydrates in the colony to even think about moving forward. Bees are like cows, though, in my opinion, where if they lose condition, it takes a lot of time and effort to get them built back up. So we're on that line, kind of watching, and what are we thinking? What do we do? I've got a lot of colonies already ready to go with frame feeders inside, but I'm afraid of putting a lot of feed in those, because I don't want them to gorge feed and then backfill the brood nest. So I think that's where the bucket feeders are going to come in again for us for the win, where we can have that trickle feed on top, and we can put it on thick, so they have to work for it a little bit. That's probably going to be the game plan on most of the colonies as we start to finish out their weights for the rest of this year. And then we'll kind of reserve, once the brood picture is kind of there, if we start to see the outer areas of that brood nest or the areas above, like it might be a little drawn, but they're not really storing and it's looking a little thin, then we'll probably put some in the frame feeders and a bucket on top and just keep them moving forward. But it is what it is. I am thankful, though, that we've had enough experience with our bees to be able to even see that and even know that difference. In years past, you're just not sure what to do. And we haven't been on top of feeding until we get into like October. And it's like one last quick ditch effort to get feed on. And sometimes it's too late. So knowing the size we want our bees to be in for the wintertime, knowing what size the brood nest is now, how many more frames we want them to fill out, and then whether or not they're actually bringing anything in, all those things play into our feeding strategy for fall. The more I talk about it, the more complicated it seems. I don't think we took things this seriously, even just 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But,
well, I think as we began to zero in on different things, you focus more on those kind of things instead of just looking at everything or just letting it slide. You become more able to recognize things like that and know what you need to do and make those decisions. So it sounds complicated, but actually it's not, because you kind of know what you're seeing, how to address it. But so I like that.
I mean, 4 years ago, we had like a lot of little kids. So you probably were just like tired.
I still think I'm tired, but
we have a couple more helpers that are a lot bigger than they were 4 years ago.
We've taken what we've always been serious, but when you really start to treat what you're doing like a business, and you're looking at assets versus liabilities, winning, losing, dollars, cents, time, no time, it really forces you into this little box where nobody got time for playing around.
Well,
because you just get destroyed.
I think you've always taken it as a business, but we've had beekeepers in training instead of beekeepers helping. Like we have beekeepers helping now.
Yeah.
Like we've had beekeepers in training in the past. 4 years ago, we had beekeepers in training, and a lot of them. Now we have actual beekeepers helping.
That does make a big difference.
Now that they can recognize things and make decisions, that makes a big difference instead of everything coming by you first, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You can just tell them to go check for feed and apply feed as needed, and they can just go do it without you being right there looking over their shoulder. That's a big benefit. Or if you can
Yeah.
just say, hey, pull this number of frames of brood here, and they know what they're looking for.
Yep.
They can just recognize things and make decisions, and that's got to be a huge weight lifted, I'm sure, when they can make some of those decisions for you. You just kind of tell them what you want them to do, and they can go do it. That's pretty. Also, I would imagine they probably have ideas that they run by you as well that kind of help with things. I would guess.
Yeah,
If
there's
they're
a lot
getting to
more
that
minds
point,
thinking other
they
than
can.
dad's.
Yeah, I mean, I know Jake he's basically doing. I know I've been real impressed with him and his decision making. So I'm sure he probably runs things by you that maybe you didn't think of. That would be kind of cool to have that opportunity instead of having to make all the decisions. Have someone to consult with. Of course, you got Susie, but then when your kids can start helping with that process as well, it really has got to be kind of cool.
It's I can remember it. When the kids are little, and you've got all this work to do in front of you, and then even if you go back 5 years ago, like what our beekeeping looked like.
Goodness.
I mean, we took
Yeah.
it seriously, but we just were constantly
Chasing our tails,
stepping over a
Hive
dollar,
tools.
stepping over $1 to pick up a quarter. Doing all the things the hard way.
Yeah.
Hadn't figured out workflow and sequence and
Oh yeah.
how all these things kind of played out, and we were running on ambition and hard-headedness. Still probably am to a certain extent. But when the kids were little and there's the work to be done, I can remember there's a couple times in your life where you feel like you're on a turnstile and you can actually feel yourself turning and then landing on a new set of tracks and going forward. And I can remember with the kids, when we were first really getting serious about the beekeeping as a business,
Yeah.
it was always this get stuff done mode, right? And you can't take the time with the kids because I just got to get this done. And how many times have you said that? I just got to get this done. I just got to get this done. I got, and you don't make the time to slow down to teach the kids the things because you have this imaginary deadline that you've placed on yourself for what you're doing. And it may be valid. Often it probably wasn't. You're just frustrated. You don't have enough wisdom or experience yet into things. So everything feels like it's always on the verge of collapse. So when you're doing these things and making these moves and all, I just got to get this done. I just got to get this done. But I can remember early on with the homesteading, seeing the kids come up and want to help and want to ask questions, and you catch yourself rather than saying, no, I don't need any help. I just got to get this done. There was a point in time where we stopped ourselves in the tracks when we said that, and we would actually take the time for the kids to teach them. And that goes back to Proverbs, whereas train a child up in the way that they should go, and when they're old, they'll never depart from it. That is one thing that we're really starting to see. We're reaping sowing of those seeds now, where we started to take the time, slow down. And if we don't get it done, great. At least we're taking the time, those teachable moments, spending time with each other. And when you start doing that, that just builds and you gain momentum. And then sometimes you don't really think about that for 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years later, 10 years later. But Burns' family tradition is typically always laboring, doing something on Labor Day. Well, we were delivering feed Pro Suite to a customer, and we had a tire blow on the trailer, right? And Jake's pretty much just, by the time we get off and get to a safe place to change a tire, I no sooner have the truck in park, Jake is already out of the back seat of the truck with the impact, with the trailer ramp, tire ramp. He's already to the tire, has the spare tire, everything ready. And before I know what's going on, I look in my mirror and he's guiding me to backward, forward. Whoa. And he's got this thing off.
Crew.
I mean, JB Pit Crew. He got
8 minutes.
8 minutes. He had the spare tire on a trailer that had 14,000 pounds on it. Tire just boom, 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 and then ready to go. And I just can remember thinking, man, I am so proud of him, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how the other kids bloom. That wasn't just a result of I trained him one time how to change a tire in the heat of the moment off of an interstate. Like, you teach kids the fundamentals, critical thinking, let them work through things logically, build a sequence of events in their head. And now, whether it's a trailer tire, whether it's doing this or doing that, it's a mindset that they have. And you see the same type of performance with all the things that they do. And that is just, to say it's rewarding is just an incredible understatement. But yeah, there's some great comments here. Pete Morris. Yeah, Greg, kids are a blessing. They really are.
Amen.
It has not been easy raising 7 kids, financially, physically. That is a lot for anyone to try to do. And so when we have these little moments, it really just is so incredibly encouraging. So Bruce, all that to say, yeah, Jake's doing a great job out there in the field. And if I say, Jake will add a box on things, he adds box, he's pulling brood up, he's checkerboarding, he's doing all the things that he knows that I want done, and he just does it. And then he thinks ahead and takes extra stuff out, and he's making all the moves and doing all the things. And that really makes a big difference. Suze, do you remember that point in time where we kind of transitioned from there's just so much to do, we have to just get stuff done, to taking the time for the kids?
Yeah.
What's some of the things that you really remember taking the time to do with the kids?
Oh, well, mine's probably different than yours because it's not bee yard related, but there's so many things I've taken time to, I mean, I guess, yeah, some of them are bee yard related. So we would work together instead of you going out and doing all, remember when we used to, we would fill bucket feeders and we would work together to do it. And then we started training the kids to do it. We would pay them like pennies or nickels to wash out and, the lids and the buckets and everything. But then we would be the ones filling. Well, now it's Jake pulling the trailer with the little boys, and Lily or, Annie and Izzy working colonies, yards and colonies with you instead of just me and you.
Yeah.
And there's been such a transition, and their growth has been so fast, quick, and in a hurry. I look back at pictures. I actually just had a lady at church ask me, I just can't imagine your life, what it was 10 years ago when the twins were born. So I actually had to go back into my memories, on my phone, and I took a lot of pictures. I take a lot of pictures. And life was really fun. It was really sweet and really precious. And it's awesome to be on a journey of learning with your children. We've learned alongside our children instead of learning and then teaching. If we have that opportunity, the opportunity God's given us is to learn alongside our children and pass on what knowledge and wisdom we've learned from attending, this life called this school called life.
Yeah.
I think of things like homemaking things, like how to make a pie crust, or this season right now, apple harvest season is Benjamin in a cloth diaper, and he sat himself in this huge black tote of apples I was washing. He sat himself in it. He was going to be one of the apples and wash, help wash, but it was more like a bath for him. So things like that, it's just so fun. So many good memories. And in every season we have good memories, but it's changed so much, and the kids do so much alongside us that I feel like, I've trained the children so that they do say this. How do they say it?
Train yourself out of a job.
Yes. Yes. I think I need a cup of coffee with pumpkin spice creamer.
Oh, it's top it with the pumpkin spice. Pumpkin spice this and that. Bruce, can you remember a time as a kid on the farm? As you were raised, was it always were your folks in a hurry to get things done, or did they take time to teach you to slow down with you?
Oh yeah, they were actually pretty good. My mom was always super busy, and Dad had a lot of church responsibilities as well as coaching football and teaching. And Mom was a teacher and had the horse farm, and so I don't remember ever them kind of pushing us aside and just going and doing it. It seems like they always involved us sometimes when we didn't want to be involved in everything, and they were never hesitant to put us to work, but then they were reasonable too. And they realized that we wanted to do some things too. And so they would allow us to we always had chores and things to do around the farm, but then we would be able to have some free time to go swimming or do whatever we wanted to, especially during the summertime. And, we were always busy. They kept us busy. And, but we just worked alongside, especially Dad out working on the farm, building fences, and, Mom planting gardens and, picking corn and cutting corn and just canning green beans and weeding all those things. Now, we didn't have bees growing up, but we had the horse farm and all the animals. We had cows and hogs and all kinds of chickens and mostly horses. And so, they bought that land up on the hill. My mom had grown up riding horses up there, thinking she wanted to live there one day. And so they did it. They bought that land and just started with, it was like, I guess it had previously been fields for row cropping, but then it had grown up with shrubs, scrub oak and brush and everything. And so Dad just kind of got the house built, started planting pecan trees and fruit trees around and building fences and just cleared land. And we just grew that thing from, I think there were 85 acres. They have Mom has 100 acres now, but 85 when I was growing up. And so we were busy, played hard and worked hard. But my dad, my parents just taught by example. He was always served in the church. He was always very active and busy serving others. And Mom was, she wasn't always the leader in the church, but she was always busy and active and serving and taking us places to serve other people. And so many times, that's where I learned when I was young. And I hope I still do this, but I've never regretted going and helping someone out or serving somebody. Sometimes I don't want to do it because I'm tired or because, it feels like an assignment or because, I just got other things I want to do. But when I go and actually do it, I never regret it. And that's the lesson I learned as a kid, a small kid. We just were always going places. Even if we weren't old enough to really serve, we were always going places and watching Mom and Dad serve. And that's kind of how I was raised. And so I tell people, if I can be half the person my dad was, half the man he was, I'll be okay. He was the best man I've ever known. And I've met a lot of really great men, and he was the best I've ever known. And so I'm real fortunate in that respect.
Well, that's awesome, Bruce. It sounds like you were raised exactly the way that Susie and I are what we're trying to do with our kids. Her and I were raised a little differently, and so we decided we were going to kind of set down some fresh roots for our family and kind of head in that direction. Learn all these things right alongside with the kids there, and every year it just gets better and better. But as we are getting a little bit older, no matter how old I am, I always try to remember that Susie's always older. And it makes me feel just a little bit younger, even if it's only just, 3 months?
You're so funny.
But it's a good reminder that we're, to keep digging in, keep doing the work, that it's worth it. And, as our business here at Nature's Image Farm and Endura Hive Wax Dipped, as that grows, there are times where we really have to evaluate, reevaluate, pull back, take a look. Are we heading in the right direction? Are we taking enough time out for the kids? Are we where we are supposed to be as a family, as a father, as a leader, as a husband? And sometimes that you've got to make some tough calls. That's fall beekeeping is one of the greatest times, I think, to be reevaluating where we're at with our beekeeping, where with our time, and things like that. Bruce, as you were talking about your dad being a church leader and serving, I'm sure he never hesitated at all to help somebody in need. And it reminded me of this, and I want to share this here. It's something that I've really tried to also remember too, out of all the things in the world that we can possibly be doing with our time. This one's been on my heart here recently, and I thought of it, Bruce, when you were talking about your folks. Right, it's in Matthew chapter 6, 19 through 21. Lay not up for yourselves treasure upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. And here's the big one, and this is what's heavy on my heart for folks to hear tonight. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. That's a big deal, as we are spending all the time that we have here on earth, or this late in the year, we push. What are we pushing for? What is the actual goal line? What is it that we're trying to accomplish? But where your treasure lies, there your heart lies also.
Got a little verse I'd like to share too, Greg. And of course, I believe from in the Bible. There's also an ancient prophet, I believe his name was King Benjamin. And this is what he said. He said, "Behold, I will tell you these things that you may learn wisdom. That you may learn that when you're in the service of your fellow beings, you're only in the service of your God."
Mm.
And so that's pretty intense. And that, I mean, service is, what did Christ do? What did the Savior do? He served. He learns. Hopefully, I mean, I know this is a beekeeping chat, but that's, I think, what we're trying to do with this chat is we're trying to serve and help, and other people grow and learn, include ourselves and others, and learn from each other. And I was just raised that way. It's like, and I know that I feel God's presence when I serve others, and I don't do enough of it. Sometimes I get caught up in my own thing more than I should, but there's always, you can get, there's a fine line you have to draw, where if you expend yourself too much, then you don't have the energy to really serve anybody, or do, you got to kind of, there's got to be a boundary. You can't just go do everything for everybody all the time. But definitely there are a lot of opportunities that we can serve if we just look for they're all around us, opportunities to serve all around us. And it doesn't always have to be a big thing. It can be just a smile, or something like that. So,
well, speaking of smiles, guess who's here tonight? The one, the only, Brian Koper. There he is.
Howdy.
yep, there he is.
How's it going, Brian?
Good.
Brian, what's new? What's new in your neck of the woods here? We're just getting caught up.
Sprinkles.
We were getting caught up. See, these guys have fancy stuff.
Wow.
They can do like gang signs or
they have
something, and like
that?
stuff pops up.
Why do they have that and we don't have that? Is that a thing?
Oops.
No. Nothing. Is your
Have to update your computer, Greg.
Maybe you have to try this one. Still nothing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, you have
Are
cool
you-
sounds
Are
though.
you pushing my buttons tonight?
I must be.
Unbelievable. Brian, what's going on up in Northeast Ohio with you and your bees this week?
Man, I'm telling you, I got into them whatever day I got into them. I forget what day it was. Having Monday off for the holiday had me all confused. I got into them, I think it would have been maybe Sunday. I don't know. But anyways, overall, I think they're looking okay. I was able to actually look at every single colony versus, 3 weeks ago, I touched 2 or 3 and they chased me out of the yard. The small colony, the little swarm girl, the swarm queen that could, I look in there now and there's over 2 frames of brood. So I'm like, well, she heard that I was going to pinch her, so she decided to kick it in. So I left her. There's just a faint trickle as far as a flow coming in. I popped over today because I had to grab my jacket to go up to a cousin's place, and I could smell. I'm starting to get
Okay.
that fall smell. It's funny. I did a deep dive yesterday, was it? Yeah, yesterday on the Hex Hive. And that is the only colony that I did not feed after when I pulled honey. Now, I didn't touch any honey in that thing before. What was in there, I left it. And when I checked them yesterday, they had probably 75% of the honey that they had stored. It is gone. And they're still hungry. So overall, though, I think things look good. I probably, I don't know. It's looking like I might end up going into the winter. We'll see, though, with 18. Now, one of my larger colonies, though, remember what I was talking about, Saturday when I was down at your place? You want to make sure that you have space and, you're not getting colonies into a swarming situation this time of year so that your queen's laying and there's no interruption there.
Mm.
Well, yeah, one of my larger colonies, when I get into it, second frame in, I saw 2 cells and I thought fully capped.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, all right, jokers. So I go in and like 2 frames later, I see a cell that a virgin had emerged and was fresh. So I just thought, well, it is what it is. Now that colony, though, there is probably 6 or 7 frames of brood in that colony.
Woof.
So, they ran out of space.
That'll be 12 frames of bees here shortly.
So I'm not really that concerned. Like, if it was a single box colony and you had 2 or 3 frames of brood, and then you're going through a requeening in September in Northeast Ohio, I might think, yeah, you might just want to combine stuff out. But that colony, so there's a deep and 2 mediums. Every box has bees. So I just thought, and our weather, if you look at the weather in the next 2 weeks here in Ohio, our weather's not going to be bad. So I'm really not concerned with that colony not being able to produce a queen. We'll see. If they end up not making one, if the queen ends up going out and she gets sniped by a dragonfly, a bird, whatever, have it. I've got the resource colony. Both of those are looking good. They're both laying up. So things look good over there. So, and unfortunately, though, my cousin that I went to help today, she got a colony, or maybe she got 2 colonies from me last year. She got 1 or 2. I don't know. I forget. But she had lost them, and a swarm had moved into one of her hives. So she kept it and it was doing good. And she doesn't check it that often. She's very new. Well, it's got a laying worker.
Oh, no.
So I told her, though, there is an entire deep that it's 8 frame. It is every frame is packed honey. So I told her, I said, Allison, I said, what I would do if I were you, I said, this is just this late in the year to have to get brood and do all that. I said, it's going to be for a lost cause. I said, if I were you, what I would do is go tomorrow or the next day and pull all that honey out of there. And I said, let them work a fall flow. Put the box on, let them work a fall flow, pull that honey. Because I said, you're not going to overwinter this colony. It just, they, from the amount of bees in there, and there was maybe a fist size of drone brood left. I told her, I said, she probably has maybe a month, and then it's just going to end up getting robbed out anyways. Mm-hmm. So I said, pull it, take what the bees have made and pull it. and then just store the equipment. And next year, get swarms, get splits, do whatever. But, it wasn't what is a new beekeeper or what she'd want to hear. But when I said, she said, what can I do with all that honey? I said, you're going to eat it, pull it. She was just thrilled.
Nice. That's still a victory, isn't it? A sweet finish, even though you weren't,
Yep.
you don't have the bees that go into the wintertime. Yeah. Sometimes you have bees who you don't take the honey. They go through the whole entire winter. They eat the honey and they still don't make it out of the wintertime. Yeah. So at least this time she's getting a little bit of a tease to make sure she stays with it,
Well, and I told her, I said, exactly what DC said, drawn comb. I said, there's drawn comb there. I said, when you get a split in there, that colony, it's just going to take off because they're not going to have to work to build comb. So I told her, I said, just make sure you protect it, keep it, she's got a way to store it. So I said, just make sure you protect that comb like it's gold and it'll be good,
Yeah.
So, but things are good here. So I had a good visit down your way the other day.
Fun. We did. That was fun. Brian came down and was our honorary guest. It was kind of expensive. He's always worth to write the check to have him as for an appearance. But I went to go write the check. I was just going to leave it blank and just give it to him and just let him, whatever you're worth, let him fill it out. And he reminded me that the deal was actually to make a gourmet lunch instead.
Exactly.
So what did we do? Made Brian a gourmet lunch at Nature's Image Farm.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it? We got into some other shenanigans, didn't we?
Oh yeah. I tell you what, I actually enjoyed that. I don't know how many people I showed the videos that I filmed of that.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I'm gonna hopefully put the full res video and stuff out. That was a lot of fun to be able to see what a stinger looks like under a microscope when it's stinging you. The first thing I thought is, oh my gosh, if you see this, you're gonna say your hands are filthy. But I think when you put your
hands of a supermodel, not.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, exactly.
You just you see all kind of just like the little my scales of my skin. They're just layered in propolis.
Yeah,
so I guess it's like self-sanitizing hands. What if I rub them on your glasses?
Mummified.
Will that help if I just rub your glasses with them?
What happens, Bruce, when you have guys that have time to kill? They've got bees and you have a microscope.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I mean,
it was only a matter of time though. As soon as Brian left and the kids found out there was a microscope on, I mean, it was booger central in just in 3 seconds.
Wonder what kind of living things were found in those.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Leave it to the kids to see how much funk is living inside of, or like that's anyways. Boogers might be a little bit grotesque. Instead of boogers, we'll just call it
sinus drainage.
Nose meat.
Oh, great. That's disgusting. You're such a boy.
I'm getting tired and slap happy. But anyways, Brian, it was great having you down. We've got 2 videos out of that to kick out. One is just a Q&A with Brian in here. And what's actually really neat about that conversation is Brian kind of gets into his start, but what is the determining factor from how far to take beekeeping? Like what's the number? What dictates what number is right for you? So it was some really good conversation there. And then of course we went out to the learning yard, had some hands-on shenanigans out there. That was pretty cool too. And it's still kind of blows me away how big these colonies are getting with the kind of year that we've had. But so to go to what Bruce talks about a lot, intentional beekeeping. When you're intentional about what you do and you plan the work and you work the plan and you just put one foot in front of the other, they look really good. I wish all my colonies looked that good. Maybe I need less colonies if I want them to all look that good. But tonight's topic is fall beekeeping. And I don't know about you guys, but what's the biggest thing on my mind right now is, are the bees, are we going to get them built up into the size that we really want them to be? Are they going to have enough feed? And then what kind of mite damage is going on, and can we stop it? What are the mite counts? Is there viruses being transmitted inside of the colonies? Let's maybe just go around the horn here and talk about where you're at with your fall mite management, and then we'll go to some questions and answers. If you've got questions for us tonight, folks, we'd love to entertain those. If you would put those in all capital letters, all caps in the comments here, that way we can easily see them and filter them, and we'll get to as many of those as we can tonight. Bruce, where are you at with mite management right now in Dothan, Alabama?
Well, I put Viroxan on the hives in March. I put it on them again after the honey came off in I guess late June, early July. And I'm about to pull those treatments off. It's been a little longer than the 8 weeks or whatever, but and then we'll see where they're at. My plan is if hopefully they've kept them in check pretty good, but I may use, last year I had a really good success rate. I used Apigard in September, late September, I think, and October a little bit. And then I hit them with OAV in the wintertime. So that's kind of what my plan is to do again this year. I was talking to a friend, another beekeeper, another YouTuber, Ashley Miller, yesterday, and he has gone just strictly OAV in all of his colonies. He has 3 vaporizers, and he just hits them all. Whenever he goes to a bee yard, he just hits them, before he starts treating, actually gives them a chance to settle down. And then anyway, he was telling me his bees are looking really good doing that. But that's my plan. I want to kind of stick with what I did last year. Now, if I pull those strips out and the numbers are really good, I'm not sure what I'll do. I'm not sure if I'll go ahead and hit them with Apigard or not. Apigard is just kind of harsh on them a little bit in the fall like that. It's just, I'm still trying to get it, dialed in. But I'm really not, but it's worked for me. I think that's kind of my plan right now for the mites. Anyway, I know we were talking earlier about the videos Bob Benny's been doing lately. It's kind of interesting. I'll be interested to see what the results were on that. So I have heard, and this is just what I've heard recently, is that of the 3 extended release oxalic acid treatments, there are 3 out there. I'm not sure if we can get access here to the Varroa Destructor from Canada. They look exactly like the Viroxan, but I've heard that as far as effectiveness, it sounds like the homemade ones are probably the most effective, followed by the Varroa Destructor, and then I've heard the Viroxan is a little bit less. I think it's just the density of the oxalic acid in the strips is part of the reason for that. But if it kept them down within the levels they were at before, and then if I can hit them with something a little more strong here coming up in the next few weeks, I think I'll be okay. But we'll see. We're going to find out.
You know where you're at on mite counts?
I'm gonna be testing the next couple of weekends to see.
Okay.
I haven't tested them since I put the strips in, so it's been a couple of months. I was, they had some mites in them, but most of them were decent. They were within a reasonable, they were within a manageable amount, below 10. Some of them were higher, but most of them were down there in that, a lot of them were zeros, ones, 4, 3, something like that. But most of them had some mites in them, but there were a couple that were up higher than I want, but none of them they weren't as near as high as they were last year. Last year, I didn't do a treatment in the spring at all. And man, they were just crazy high in June when Auburn came down and did that study on them. And they were just some numbers that were they were infested. I'd never seen mite counts that high on average in my hives. And so this year they were much more manageable, but they still were higher. They weren't zero. They weren't real low. So I need to get them under control, but we're going to find out. I'm going to pull those strips and we're going to see.
Awesome. Brian, what about you in Northeast Ohio?
Yeah.
Where are you at with mites and the mindset with mites?
Yeah, so I treated them with OAV. It was pretty much all of July. So when I pulled my supers off, they got 5 rounds. So it was like every about 5 days, I think it was. And then my washes afterwards, it was random. I didn't wash all of my colonies because that's when they ran me out of the yard. But the highest that I've had this year again was 3. So I do expect it to climb up a hair. Just it's that time of the year. I'm debating. I haven't quite landed on what I'm going to do for my fall yet. Now, I know I probably next time I go over there, though, I'm going to do exactly what you did the other day. I'm just going to go and hit them with just OAV just to get those phoretic mites. But for my fall, I haven't landed on what I want to use. I normally would use Apivar. Everybody knows for years I've used Apivar. I just have this thing in my head, and it's been, I don't know, in the last year, I'm wanting to move away from using Amitraz. So I want to get, I don't want to use Apivar this year at all. So for my fall treatment, I don't know if I'm going to do the Viroxan strips, put them in there just so they have that extended. I don't know if I want to get a tub of Apigard and use Apigard. I haven't quite decided on that yet. But
yeah, Greg, I think Brian made a good. I kind of tend to believe what Cameron Jack said when we interviewed him that time, that if you hit them often enough, even with brood in the colonies, it can knock the mites back. I did kind of my own little test on that years ago. I think even before we met Cameron that day, and I hit them every week for like 6 weeks, and they went from, I had not even touched my colonies all year pretty much in my backyard, neglected them. And when I had the Epimay colonies with the tray in there, first time I hit them, there were thousands of mites that dropped. Second week, about that, and then they started drastically reducing. I hit them once a week for I think 5 or 6 weeks, and by the end there were almost no mites dropping. So it can work with brood in the colonies, but it's just got to be consistent over time. You can't just do 1 or 2 treatments. I will say that I do have a new device. I saw, Greg, you made a little video on this on your social media today. I got the INSTANTVAP Turbo, and so I think that'll make things go a lot faster. I also think, though, with the oxalic acid, I think that part of the reason that people are seeing maybe more success with it is because we're using a higher dose than what we used to use for that. I believe it can work with brood in the colonies. I'm pulling this thing out now for the first time, taking a look at it, see what it looks like.
I'm the only one that don't got one.
Unbelievable, Brian. We've been what you were talking about as far as Apigard and Amitraz and all those things are such important things to consider there, because if you've got brood in your colony, right? If you're not where you want to be as far as size goes, and you need them to keep brooding, I mean, what are you going to do? Stop? If you have to put Formic or Apigard or something on, and it knocks her back from laying.
Yeah,
you might be free of mites, but the colony's not going to get to the size that you need them to be. But then if you don't treat them and let them keep brooding, then the mites are going to get even further out of control and have a greater chance on passing the viruses through. So having an option for something that's not going to affect brood rearing, but also knock mites back is kind of important. If I was already where I needed to be for wintertime, or I would be putting Formic on everything because the weather's perfect for it. But everything that we've pulled splits out of, or 2 splits out of, I need them to get a little bit bigger still for wintertime. And so I've got to use something that's not going to knock the brood back, but it's going to start knocking the mites back. And that's where I think oxalic acid really comes in.
That is a concern too with Apigard as well, because it has a, I don't know if, Greg, I don't know what your thoughts are with Apigard. Is the effect as strong as is a Formic? I don't know if it's quite as strong as Formic as far as the,
efficacy,
what it does for brood. But it is, Apigard the thymol does shut them down for a few days there.
Well, it shuts them down for, Formic shuts them down for about, what I've seen is about 7 to 12 days. Apigard is in that 5 to 10 day range too, because you'll notice it, by the time you put your first application on, then you come back in that 7 to 10 day window to put your second round of Apigard on, it crushes it again. So there's like a 2-week period where they're really not brooding up very well. Then after that, they really start to kick in. The trouble with that is if we look at, let's put this, let's just share the screen here, a window. Where'd it go?
Yeah, I'm debating on.
Holy moly, that's the wrong one.
You're playing the game that I played last week, Greg. I think they might have changed the platform a little bit because I had a hard time sharing that last weekend. And
That ain't
looked like
working.
I wanted it.
Yeah, okay. That's not going to work.
Oh.
I
was trying
think
to
what I'm
find
going to
what
end up.
calendar.
I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'll probably hit them with, it might be even just once a week here, just with some OAV. It's something. And then, once I pull everything, then I can do some washes, spot check things. And if I do need to hit them with anything, any other additional, I can decide at that point. But like right now, like you said, it's just such an important time. And with the brood in those colonies, I don't want to stop my queens because I want decent colonies going into the winter.
And when you look at all this, you try to, you're up against the wall and you eventually have to say, well, what are the bees going to do? And look at the forecast. This is September, at least here in Zanesville. We've got about almost, we got 0.4 inches of rain coming Thursday, and then maybe 0.1. So overall, we'll get about a half inch of rain at the end of the week. That'll help in the first part of next week, hopefully with goldenrod. But look at our temperatures. I mean, today was probably, I actually got sunburned today, and it was actually 86 in the bee yard that are one of the out yards.
But it started out crisp.
But it started out 48 degrees this morning, and cool. But look at the highs. Even in the next week, 82. Look 3 weeks from now, 85, 86, 84.
Yeah.
4 weeks from now, 77. 5 weeks from now, the
Still
lowest
in the 70s.
high is 72. I mean, so we're looking at, if we're talking about, brood cycles and let's say every 3 weeks, I mean, we still have,
At least September.
What does October look like? Let's see.
October is going to be a little shaky.
Yeah.
It's going to drop
I don't know. Look at this.
slowly, 70s and then 60s. And it does this.
I mean, we're still going to be, we still have the potential to push colonies.
Who is 6A, zone 6A, 6B knows the last predicted frost date?
Look at this.
Drop it in
they
the
got
comments
kicked back
if you know.
October. Looks like it's going to be November. Let's pop in November here and see.
Yeah.
This is for East Central Ohio. This is for Zanesville.
No. So you know what though?
My gardener heart.
Like, and I know I told you guys this the other day, but up here, Bruce, when I was driving, I was listening to you guys, and you were saying about how everything was green and lush, and now like the grass is cracking. They reported in Northeast Ohio, we had one of the driest Augusts on record. I think it's been like 40 years that we've had an August like this. Now,
worse than last year. Worse than last year.
Now the drought in Ohio last year, Greg's area was like in that level 4 kind of area.
Level 4. Yep.
My area just hit into like a 1, so we didn't get like real bad. It was bad, but we weren't as bad as Central Ohio. Now, when they were talking about the rainfall for August, the prediction, and I saw this yellow band going through, and it said drought conditions continue. And it's like, and I don't want loans for birthday. So, what's going to end up happening is I started the year with, I think, like 600 pounds of sugar, and I've only got like 150 pounds of sugar left. So what's going to end up happening?
That's a problem.
Yeah. Well,
have you seen the sugar prices?
Yeah, I'm going to end up,
ouch,
having to buy probably 200-300 more pounds of sugar. So colonies are
Next time you're down, we needed to set you up with ProSweet because it's actually cheaper than dry sugar, and there's no mixing, and it's shelf stable. We're selling a lot of ProSweet, selling it by the tote. If anyone listening, if you're looking for bulk ProSweet by the tote, we can help you with that too. When you figure the price of that in that format, it's a no-brainer. But do you see the forecast? It's going to be the first frost. It really isn't even going to be until within the 6th, 7th day, 8th day of November, that's a major problem because we're going to have all of September, all of October with warm flight weathers. And actually, it's going to be
picture from the chicken coop today.
I did. Susie's got a picture of a woolly caterpillar.
I don't know if it'll show. Will it show if I put it up like that? That was today when we were working on the chicks. Oh, I don't think it'll show.
Well, it's
tiny,
all brown.
It's all brown. The whole thing brown,
which is not good. That means a mild winter, which means mud season. That means wet. Hopefully, it's cold and it stays cold. But anyways, these are all things that as a beekeeper you got to think about. Yes, it's fall. Winter is coming, but the problem with fall is going to be a long, dry fall. So as soon as the goldenrod, as Brian mentioned, he's starting to get the butterscotchy smell going on. We have that going on. We probably only have about.
You're lucky, buddy.
What's butterscotch now? It goes to gym socks as soon as the asters kick in. But we're only talking about maybe 2 weeks of a flow if we're lucky, and then it's going to be lights out, but it's going to be warm. So folks, you got to be really careful. You've got to be mindful of where your bees are in their stores. Just because they might look good right now doesn't mean they're going to look good in 3 weeks.
Yep.
So keep an eye on their storage situation. And there's all these things are constantly. I feel like the more of a grip that we get on our beekeeping, the less of a handle that I've got on it, because there are so many things that are constantly that you now think about that in the past you just let it slide and then you let it go, and then you accept the result. But there is just kind of so much going on. So be mindful of that. Let me show you what we were getting into here today.
Hey guys, Greg Burns here at Nature's Image Farm. How fast can we vaporize 10 colonies with a 2-gram dose using the all-new INSTANTVAP Turbo? Let's find out. Ready, set, go. Number 10, here we go. That's it, done. Can't get any faster than that. The all-new INSTANTVAP Turbo. It's a sweet unit. I think you'll like it too. For more info, visit us, naturesimagefarm.com.
Wow.
Bruce has one too. I tell you, it is slick. It's twice as fast as the INSTANTVAP Compact. We're taking pre-orders now on our website, naturesimagefarm.com. Ship out into September, early October. What I noticed with them is a 2-gram dose. It does it in about 10 seconds.
Wow.
A 4-gram dose, it's right around 20 seconds or so. In that little video, that was the length of time it took to do 10 colonies, right? So it's in and you're moving and you're walking, but that's what you could expect as far as a pace when you're kind of lining out. How much time is it going to take me to go through a yard? We got a full length video coming out, and we have the timer on even more colonies and how long that it takes. Wow. But that's pretty handy. If you've got 10 to 20 colonies, you might not get enough savings and time to warrant investing in the INSTANTVAP Turbo. But when you start kicking in and you get into the 30s, 40s, 70, 100, 200, 400 colonies, when you can cut the time in half, that makes a big deal. How we have been doing it is I've got one of the original INSTANTVAPs and then a compact, and it's double fisting it. One here, and you're boom, boom, you go next. And you can do that, right? And you can move through a yard. But
you guys
can't stop. You can't stop doing it. See, there it is. Come on, Brian. Oh, come on. All four. Ready? Come on. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm just going to stare at you.
Okay.
I'm just going to stare at you.
Unbelievable, Brian. She wouldn't do it. Unbelievable. The worst. The worst.
You're so funny.
Anyway, that thing is really sweet. It goes much faster. It's got a hotter pot. The reason I say all that is,
It's got a hot pot.
it's got a hot pot. What it's able to do now, it actually is more efficient and effective with the oxalic acid, more so than it's ever been. So when you are putting 2 or 4 grams in there, you're getting way more of the 2 or 4 grams than you ever have before because of some changes to the temperature into the pot. That is a big deal. For me, we can move, and I say for me, Jake's been out there just running amok with those things, just really helping us out because we need to brood up. We have mite washes where we're somewhere between 2 and 4%, right? And so we're in the neighborhood. We got to start. We got to get things going, but I don't want to slow brood down. I don't want to put Formic or Apogard on. I'm going to keep her moving forward, but keep the mites, slowly start getting the mites pinned back. So this was perfect timing for the INSTANTVAP. The only problem let's get real for a second. So here's the big problem with the INSTANTVAP Turbo. The problem is I was going to give it to Susie for Christmas.
You're so cheap.
So I might have to.
It's not a cheap unit.
That's like giving her a vacuum cleaner for Christmas, Greg. Now come on, you can't do that.
Picture
I would
of
never
a
do-
water bath canner that you're gonna buy me for Christmas, and it's at the Amish store, and it's already got the price tag on it, and I told her you're coming back for it. So there you go, buddy.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Paul Hale, great comment here. The romance isn't dead. See, Paul, if you
The
know,
mites
you
are,
know.
the romance isn't.
The romance is not dead. You know, there's nothing more romantic than to think about 500 degrees, 18 volts, INSTANTVAP turbo.
You are
able to
not.
administer
Don't
4
put on your
grams
Tom Selleck filter and think you're going to get by with this, buddy, because it's not happening.
It's the best.
No.
The likes of which
No.
have never been seen.
Cancel.
Everyone tells me how
False
great it is.
news.
It's not fake news.
Fake news.
Okay.
Question, Greg.
Too far.
Question, Greg. And someone mentioned this. Does it burn up the batteries faster, or is it similar?
It does go through the batteries a little quicker. If you, so in the video that I just put out, we're actually watching the volts drop as we go through the number of colonies there. It's going to require more battery use for sure. It is a little bit more efficient with its usage, but it is going to. We did 12 4-gram doses. Yeah, we did. The cool thing about it is there's actually a counter on it. So when you turn it off, you hit the down button, and it'll actually show you how many cycles that you've had. We got 12 4-gram cycles out of one 5 amp hour battery. That actually is very close to what it was before. We used to get between 14 and 18 4-gram cycles on a 5 amp hour battery. So it might be, that's extremely efficient.
It uses the same battery as the compact?
Same battery as the compact, same battery as the light, same battery as the original. But the unit itself is a little bit more efficient, even at that higher temp and higher speed. So I like that because if it was at first, I was really skeptical because I'm thinking, okay, so great, it goes hotter, it's faster, but am I using twice as many batteries? Because those batteries are expensive, and you can't carry around 40 batteries with you to go, to do 300 colonies. So I'm thinking, all right, how's this actually going to play out? And I was actually really pleasantly surprised. In the video, you'll actually see what it'll max out as, how many colonies you can treat at 2 grams on a 5 amp hour battery, and what it actually maxes out. Or if that video is almost done, we'll publish that, and you'll see. Extremely encouraging and exciting because it's just, here's the thing. If you remember, now I'm not old.
Yeah, you are.
Like you. I mean, you're
Oh,
3 months.
I know where you sleep. The couch.
the couch.
You better be careful, buddy.
You got to be careful with that. The dog's been into the cat food, and when the dog eats the cat food, the dog lets
Let me
these
text Ben.
these
Tell him to
evening
give Fritz
gassers that it
food.
just it's
cat food.
horrible. Absolutely run you out of the room. So I can just imagine jumping on the couch
Done.
in the middle of the night and just letting it rip. That'd be horrendous. Anyways,
Greg's not going to be getting any of them gourmet sandwiches. if
no
he's-
gourmet
No, he's not. He's
sandwiches.
not. I'm not
No
making him
gourmet
breakfast
sandwiches.
tomorrow either.
No. Did you remember when you had to hook up alligator clips to a battery to heat up an oxalic acid wand, but you had to put your powder in the wand first while it was
Oh, yeah.
cool, and then clip it onto the battery, and then it would take, what was it, 4.5 minutes to get hot, and then it would take like 2.5, 3 minutes to go through that cycle. Then it was another 4. These were like 10 to 12 minute cycles, it seemed like back in the day for each colony.
he's
Well,
one of those-
it got to be where you just wouldn't do it because you had to drag a battery. Then the battery was dead. Then you're like, okay, then you got to drag. So when the first AC units came in, with the blue caps, when those first started hitting the market, then it's like, okay, I just need a generator or a line conditioner or an inverter or an extension cord. And a lot of folks got way more serious about treating for mites, but it was still kind of a pain in the neck. When the cordless units came out, all of a sudden, there really wasn't any excuse at all other than price. And you can't even complain about it doesn't even matter what the price is if you really think about it, because if that's the determining factor on you keeping the mites off and viruses out and colonies making it through the wintertime, imagine how much money you've got tied up in just the equipment and the frames. Now imagine the asset there, which is all the drawn comb, the pollen, the honey, the brood. If that colony doesn't make it through the wintertime, now you're looking at buying either a package or a nuke. But now, hopefully, you've stored all this equipment. If you don't even know your colony's dead until February, and Mrs. Mice and her 18 children move into that thing, that can trash an entire hive kit of equipment to where all that's left is the shells. It costs you a lot of money to have dead bees. It costs you some money to treat for mites, to wash for mites, to treat for mites, to be mindful. But you gotta make a choice on which way you're going to go with that. Now, if you're talking 10 seconds a colony. If you don't have 10 seconds in life to treat a colony, I don't know what to tell you. Then you're gonna have to go a different way. I just don't know what to tell you about that. So, for me, I'm excited about it. From a labor standpoint too. This is going to sound ridiculous, but Jake's not the operations manager out of the kindness of his heart. He's getting a paycheck. So when I have labor out there doing this work in the yards, if something it's whittled down and it takes half the amount of time, now he can pick up 1 or 2 more yards a day and get them treated. Guys, that is a big deal. That's a force multiplier and creates an enormous amount of leverage. So I'm really encouraged by that and those speed times. Bruce, I'll look forward to getting some feedback from you on what you think of that unit. But I'm pretty sure you'll like it as much as we do.
Brian, you can come play with our new toy.
There we go.
We'll put you to work.
There we go.
For free.
All right, guys. We've got some questions here. Let's run through them rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Okay, ready? First question. Bees, nuts, honey. Hi, Greg. I know you've mentioned this before, but do your buckets fit inside a medium super sitting on top of an inner cover? I'm trying to get rid of my jar system. Absolutely get rid of the jar system at your soonest availability. Don't even get me started on that. But do you remember?
No, let's just not go down that rabbit hole. It said rapid fire.
It said rapid fire. Have I got a story for you?
No.
50 quart jars full of feed, lawn tractor trailer, accidentally dumps, breaks all the jars all over the bee.
It was a piece of junk to start with.
It was not a piece of junk.
It was bought at an auction as a resource accumulation pile of junk. It was rusting, and the whatever spring that was left broke off in the midst of having jars full of expensive, overpriced sugar water. That was we were even using Pro Sweet, and it broke my mason jars that I can food in instead of. Anyway,
It was not a piece of junk. It was.
we're not going down that rabbit hole.
had
Move
character.
on.
Anyways,
Answer
Let's talk more about this.
back to the question. Okay. No, the buckets do not fit in a medium box. They will fit with a deep
box.
hive body, or there is another option. Okay, let me show you what this is real quick. Brian can pull it up way faster. Don't pressure me. I'm gonna hit all the wrong. Don't. You're pressuring me here. You're making me nervous.
Time's up.
Time's up. Okay. Good thing I found it. All right. Here, I think is a much better method. Go to our website, nature'simagefarm.com. Check out our premium wax dipped migratory lids. You'll see right on the lid, we actually have a hole cut right on the top. It's wax dipped. It's going to last a long time. What's great about that is you can just put the bucket feeder right on top, right over the migratory lid. You can see here the bees do wonderfully with that. That lid also works great for putting pollen patties or fondant on.
Yep.
We have a patty rim built all the way around that thing. So I think that you'll love that. And if you want to see that, look at, I even have Bruce making a cameo here, him using those some years ago.
Those come in 10, 8, and 5 frame sizes.
So that check, if it's in the budget, check that out. That is, I think, the best way to use a bucket. We'll talk a lot more about that later. But if you want to keep using an inner cover and then just a hive body or something over it, you can, but you'll need a deep box to do it.
All right. Question 2.
That video,
Thanks for that question.
that thumbnail on there was Eric, also known as Spirit of Toad, was on that thumbnail with me, in case you're wondering. who
Oh,
that was.
nice. Well, he's on here tonight. Well, cool. That's awesome. All right. Tiny Creek Bee Company, Greg and Bruce. If you have a nuke in the spring before your flow starts and have drawn comb for brood and supers, what do you expect them to make honey-wise?
I mean, I've had this year, I probably made a couple of boxes on some of mine that were splits, like a nuke that I put in boxes like that this year when I made my splits in February. And I got at least 2 boxes. It depends. There's so many factors. It depends on how the season, it depends on the queens, what their genetics are. But I got a couple of boxes off of some of mine probably. I just let them fill that bottom box up. Then I put a queen excluder on and just ran it single deep management through the honey flow. And I got a couple of boxes off a lot of those, I think.
Brian, what about you? Have you had any experience with nukes or packages? Which one produces honey same year?
I mean, they both will, but like Bruce said, I mean, there's so many factors that fall into that equation. I mean, you know, like if you put a package or nuke up here when we've had one of the driest Augusts on record in Northeast Ohio, and they say, well, September is going to be the same way. I mean, you're not going to get much. So if you have all the perfect ideal like elements out there, I mean, either. I've had packages produce the same year.
Yep.
You know, nukes do the same thing. I mean, it just there's so many factors in play there. It's hard to say.
It's really hard to say. What's cool about the Learning Yard is we had 3 different package dates, and there was a sweet spot this year, and it was that second package date. That second package date, everything was just in perfect timing, and just it was awesome. One perfect moment after the other. Right now, there are 2 full honey supers that are capped. They are drawing out another under supered below that, and then the colony is in a story and a half full of brood. I mean, that's phenomenal. They're in the copper dip Endura Hive kit. They're in the center with the Apame top and bottom. They're doing phenomenal, but timing is everything. See, and here's the challenge, Tiny Creek, is nukes. If they're a local nuke built in your area, For the most part, you're not probably going to get a nuke before the flow because most nukes are built at the beginning part of that spring in that time of flow and in that time of queen rearing. So typically nukes, you a lot of times miss out on most honey for the year, except for maybe some late summer and then fall honey. Packages, on the other hand, can come in so early, they can get built up, have capped brood, and have a couple brood cycles before the spring flows really in heavy swing. And then if you end up having a little bit of a summer flow, a package is going to create most of the time much more honey than a nuke, unless you're getting an overwintered nuke and they're building up and they're brooding before the flow. Those are just some of the basic nuances, not even talking about is it a Saskatraz? Is it a Buckfast? Is it a Caucasian? Is it an Italian? Is it a Mutt? Is it a da-da? So the answer is
yes.
It depends. Great question, though. That would be a whole other, that would be an entire podcast episode.
Not today.
Actually, matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to screenshot that.
Oh.
Did I get a screenshot? There we go.
No, you don't know how to do that.
Screenshot that. There we go.
Oh.
Tiny Creek Bee Company. That is going to be a fantastic podcast episode coming up. Thanks for that question. I want to thank Mr. George Ford for your $20 super chat. We've seen George in here a couple times this year. George, we can't thank you enough for your supporting our family business. There's a lot of choices when it comes to bees and equipment and supplies. But George, we want you to know that we really appreciate you choosing Nature's Image Farm, and thanks for your $20 super chat tonight. Really do appreciate that. I want to thank the one and only Mr. Bruce's Bees. Hashtag Stream Team. Hashtag Grateful. Hashtag Bee Lighthouse. Bruce, thank you for your super chat and your friendship. Mr. Castle Hives, thanks for your super chat tonight as well. Hashtag Stream Team. Hashtag Fellowship. Appreciate you guys. All right, here we go. The one and only Utah Bee Man, Glade Sessions. Question is, Greg, do you overwinter singles, doubles, 5-frame nuke in singles or doubles? Let's just go right around the horn here, because this is going to cover a lot of different modalities, beekeeping doctrine differences, localities, you name it. Bruce, what is your preferred overwintered configuration?
My preferred is double deeps, and I have some that are in deeps and mediums. I know you have some of those as well too, Greg. And I've done fine with nukes, either single or double nukes down here in Alabama. But my preferred method is double deeps. It's just so forgiving. I know that a lot of people like single brood, but down here it works well. If they're strong enough, if they got them full, they do really well for me in the wintertime here.
Brian?
And then they're easy to split in the spring because you got them in the deep boxes, and you can just, if they grow up like they usually do, lots of times do around here, they're so easy to split when they're in double deeps.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Brian, what's your favorite preferred configuration for overwinter?
I started double deeps, but I've transitioned in the last year over to a deep and a medium. I do the single brood, but I always tell people, like, I'm kind of like a hybrid single brood, because here shortly I'm going to pull my excluders off, and they will have full reign of that deep and medium. So it's like a story and a half. So at that point, I guess the queen has a little bit more freedom. In the springtime, when that flow is going to hit, I'll push her back down into the deep and put an excluder on. And it works out really well. I mean, trust me, I've enjoyed not having to lift 10 frame deeps. So it's funny when you hit a certain age and you look at certain little chores or tasks like that.
Old joke. Pay attention.
I'm not pointing and saying that Susie's older than you or anything like that, because I want to stay.
I'm younger in spirit.
So, but you feel that stuff. And when you're working a yard and you're lifting those deeps all day long, it's something. When I've gone through this year, and when I started switching over last year, when you're having to lift mediums, it's a lot easier. So now I do have one colony in my yard that is still in a double deep. I did a combine very early this year, and lazy Brian, I have never pulled that second deep and just let them go. They had brood in both, deeps, and I just thought, you know what, Queen Mama, I'm giving it to you for this year. Now, springtime, like Bruce said, all that I'm basically going to do is locate that queen and just grab that whole entire deep box and walk it over to a new spot and bloop, and there it goes. So it'll be so darn easy come springtime to split that. So, but story and a halves, I like them. I like that. I think you more or less turned me on to that. I like it. I enjoy it.
I think the ideal bee space is honestly a deep and a medium or a double deep 8. I think that's about right I think the bees, that's really like the perfect bee space, it seems like to me. So it's just when you have 2 different size boxes, it's a pain in the tail when you're trying to do splits. You can do it, but it's just a pain.
Yeah.
So
Suze,
kind of,
what's your, do you have a favorite? What configuration do you like? I keep looking over you like this. I can see if I list it this way. Sorry.
I do the same thing.
You just can't get enough of me, can you?
Yep.
What's your favorite configuration?
I would have to agree with Bruce, although they don't get a real winter. I would say the double deeps is makes hunting and pet a whole lot less chaos. But there are mediums throughout the yard. So between one or the other, yes. The answer is yes.
I would say if I could just wave a wand out there and everything gets a configuration, it'd be double deeps. And the only reason I say that is you have so much more flexibility coming out of the spring.
Yeah.
If you got to move brood down or move a queen down, doesn't matter. Fine. You could just flip the boxes if you wanted to.
Yep.
If you want to pull the frame out, move it down, reorganize the brood nest, and then above, no problem. When you get to the medium over the top, every single February, March, and April, she's up in the top box. And we're trying to reconfigure, reorchestrate the configuration there. All the brood's up in the medium, and then it's a ghost town down below.
Yep.
Then what are you going to do? Put the medium down there? It just becomes this rigmarole of like, okay, it's a lot more weight. It's way harder to maneuver. It's way tougher on your body, but it's way more uniform and consistent to have double deeps if you can get them to that. If you can't get them to double deeps and you can get them into a story and a half, then I think that's second best. What I try not to do at all anymore, there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So forgive me ahead of time. I avoid singles and I avoid 5-frame anything like the plague. I absolutely will not overwinter anything in 5-framers anymore. There's been years where it's been beautiful, but there has been more years where it is fickle, to say the least.
Well, as of late, yes. The last 5 years have been wow.
And if you ask yourself, why in the world would you even be considering raising a 5-frame? Like, why is it? For me, I was pushing the bees way too hard. They were scraggly. They were worn out. They weren't strong enough. And so that's what was left. But trying to be a little bit smarter about sizing, right sizing the colonies and the boxes. I would rather than try to overwinter a 5-frame nuke single or even 5/5, I would much rather cram those bees into one box with a frame feeder and put them over a double screen board over a stronger colony. I would much rather do that than to leave a 5-frame single sitting on a bottom board or a pallet out here in Ohio in the wintertime. It's just too fickle in my neck of the woods. And I'm not doing it. I don't do it anymore. 3 weeks ago, everything that was in 5-frame equipment got upgraded to 10-frame equipment. I feel like that is also a perfect podcast episode, Suze.
Uh-oh.
I'm doing all these screenshots, guys. You guys are giving me some great ideas here. Another podcast episode. More on that later. But we've got some fun news about the podcast
You
Great
are
question.
at 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Gregory, wrap it up.
We've got to wrap it up, guys. We can't be on here all night long. This was supposed to be rapid fire. All right. True rapid fire. Okay. 1 word answers, responses, or 1 sentence responses. You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay.
It went from 1 word to 1 sentence. What is
Great
it?
question. Let's see. Our pal, let's see. Oop, what is my computer doing?
I don't know.
Why is it not letting me do that? There
Are
we
you
go.
proud of him, Greg?
There we go.
Sure,
Okay.
Jake.
Brian, Zavada, Jen and Brian, Greg Burns, don't forget to tell him that you are proud of him. Absolutely. I'm going to make sure I try to tell him as much as often, but that's a great reminder. Okay, here we go. Gigi's honeybees. I've got Viroxan strips on right now. If we get a fall flow, should I remove them and replace after the flow? Bruce?
No.
Brian?
Right. I missed the question. Let me see here.
Uh-oh, he wasn't listening.
After the flow.
Jeez,
Won't.
Well, I was typing in a comment. Got Viroxan strips. I would just leave them on for, what is it, the 46 to 52 days? And yeah, there you go.
I agree. I'm with you.
Whatever the label says.
Whatever the label says is the right answer. If it's not clear, I would lean.
Well, you can leave it on with honey on there, because I think it's on the labeling. I
There you
believe.
go. There it is.
Okay.
So we
next.
were all in agreement. Okay, we already got that question. Okay, that one. Mr. Jason Seward asks, "What's the coldest you can do an OA dribble?" Bruce, do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Brian?
I've never used. I've never done an OA dribble. I would think. I mean, you probably would want it so that the bees are moving around. So I think it'd be similar to when you do OAV. You don't want them when they're clustered tightly. I would think as long as your bees are flying. But like I said, I've never done a dribble, so not sure.
I'm with you. If the bees are too tightly clustered, I would be worried that you're just going to burn up the bees or the brood just in that one area. I'd probably want to see some movement in the frames there.
Proceed with caution. Is that the answer then?
Great question.
Okay.
Mr. Philip Morse, RTX Honeybees, asks, Brian, are you going to try and harvest any fall honey? I think I know the answer for those other jokers.
Yeah. So when I went through the other day, I did put on a couple supers, but it was only on the very large colonies. That's it. If I can sneak a bucket, then I'm going to sneak a bucket. But that's all going to depend on how the colonies look, because I had some colonies that I had 2 supers still on them when I was bucket feeding, and a couple people questioned my videos. They said, why do you have supers on and you have buckets on? It's because I'm going to equalize throughout my yard. So those colonies that filled in those extra frames, well, they're doing the work that other girls were maybe lagging behind a little bit. So it's just all going to depend. I would love to, but we'll see.
Here's to a good fall flow.
Absolutely. Mr. Mark Basinger, the warden himself. The migratory top is slick, migrating to all these tops. You see what he did there?
I see.
That was
I
good
see
one, Mark.
what he did there. I see. They are a fan favorite.
Via Honeybees, Tom and Melissa, Greg, you have to mention the Nature's Image Farm Pyramid Bucket Challenge. Boy, I don't know if I can get a picture. I'm not sure I can get a photo up fast enough. But what I can do is show you this.
It's buckets.
Here's the bucket feeders. They're on our website.
Buckets.
All right. I can't say enough good things about them. The lids and the bucket feeder, it's a match made in heaven. It's an incredible way to feed your bees. For our Stream Team listeners, use discount code STREAMTEAM10.
Can you type that in, please?
STREAMTEAM10. I don't know. I can't do that.
Oh,
maybe Brian, if he's Brian can type it in and put it in there. Use discount code STREAMTEAM10, and you can get those bucket feeders for $10. So you'll save $250. It's a great deal. It's a great bucket. They are super thick, super reliable. They've got some beautiful art on them too. I'm a little bit biased, but I think that you'll love them just as much as we do. Tom and Melissa, they're up to 60. Now, if whoever buys 61 buckets and you build a pyramid and you take a photo with it, you will be the winner. Right now, it's a 60 bucket pyramid is currently number one place.
They're awesome.
I hope to get out to the EMBA conference in St. Louis. I'm pretty sure they sent us an invite to be a part of that. I got to run it past the schedule coordinator, or I was going to say warden, but I thought that might have been a little harsh since the warden was sitting right next to me. I was just going to say.
He also called me old,
scheduling
so
coordinator.
There's that.
But anyways, I'm looking forward to having fun with that and maybe announcing the bucket challenge grand champion. We'll have to award them some kind of grand champion prize, maybe even something gourmet.
Oh,
what do you think?
Oh my, very cool. Very
and
cool.
Mr. Mark Zenner, thank you for your $10 super chat. Mark has placed an order for a bunch of things with our website. Mark, those do not go unnoticed. So I want to thank you for your support on our family business. It really does mean a lot. Mark's question here, Greg, did you say that you would be setting up a Maxent extraction line at one of the upcoming conferences? If so, can you take some pictures or a video and share? Mark, thank you for the super chat and for the comment. We're actually heading to the West Virginia Bee Fair, which is going to be this September the 12th and the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be set up there. We'll have the broadcast booth. Everything is going to be the lights, camera, action. Looking forward to visiting with some beekeepers. Maybe we'll shoot some videos together. That's going to be a lot of fun there too. But we are also bringing a Maxent extraction line so folks can see some of these different pieces of equipment and how they actually all fit together, how they're actually operated, how to use them, and to also show off American-made equipment, made with American hands, right here on American soil, feeding American families using American components, 100% made in the USA, like for real. That's Maxent, built to last a lifetime. Excellent equipment, been around since 1970. Top-notch, top-shelf products. So we're going to bring that equipment and show that off at the West Virginia Bee Fair in Lewisburg, West Virginia.
Yep.
They're at the fairgrounds.
Yep. West Virginia
September
State Fairgrounds.
12th and 13th.
Yep.
We'll drop a link below for that. I think we made it through. We made it through all the questions there.
Yay!
At least they'll start. Whew, that was short story. Long version of rapid fire questions. If you have any more questions that we didn't get to tonight, leave them in the comments below in this video, and we'll circle back and make sure that we answer all of those questions. Let's go around the horn, guys. What is going on for the next week down at Bruce's Bees in Dothan, Alabama? What are you up to this week, Bruce?
Just got to get out there and assess. I haven't been in them in a couple of weeks, some of them 3 weeks, and so I got to assess and see what they're doing and just check for mite, do some mite washes, hopefully, see if they need food, just check on them.
Awesome. Brian, what is coming up for Castle Hives in Northeast Ohio this coming week?
Well, I'll tell you, the colonies, I am crossing my fingers, hoping that they get into a flow. If not, I'll just feed. But I probably, next time I pop over there, it's going to be OAV. I'm thinking on like once a week, get those phoretics, and I'll test afterwards. But I do have a market coming up. It's the larger market that I do this Saturday. So that'll have me busy. I do want to share something, though. Let me share a wonderful picture here. And I know that Susie there, she's going to know what this picture is. Look at that wonderful picture there.
Wow.
Oh,
All of that vanilla caviar in there.
yay. Look at you.
Oh, So yeah,
That's
I did
gourmet.
That is gourmet.
batch of the vanilla honey the other day. I've got to do a batch of hot honey. I sold out all my hot honey again. That stuff is it's blazing off the shelves. You see what I did there?
I saw what you did there.
He's
That's
good.
a hot.
So it's
Hot
a hot
topic.
ticket item.
That's right.
Yes.
Is that
So-
on your? Is that for sale? Other than at the markets,
What, the vanilla?
the vanilla and the hot honey.
Well, I mean, why even ask that? Because look at that photo right there.
Look
Look
at
at
you,
that.
Brian.
That looks
Look
nice.
at this picture right here. Look at all that nice caviar down in there.
That's like, you know, when you go
Look
to
at this
the like
it's caviar.
Italian restaurants and you get the oil with the seasonings in it,
Yes.
and then you dip the bread that's fresh baked, and you're
Yes.
like, this is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
That's what that vanilla infused
Oh, it's
deliciousness looks like to me.
yeah. That stuff is it turned out really nice. I mean,
That
it's
looks amazing.
I use for every 1 pound of honey that I do, I use 2 vanilla beans. I will sit there and I have this small little paring knife that I'll carefully, like, I cut down the bean, I scoop the caviar out, I put that along with the cut bean into the honey. It's infused for 10 to 12 minutes and then it's bottled. But when I bottle it, I'll pull the bean out and then I cut another one and put it in the jar. So, you know, it's a process, but it is fantastic.
It sounds like it's worth $5 extra a bottle when you say that this is vanilla bean caviar.
I like
caviar.
Yeah,
Not
last year when I
Dried
sold
seeds, but caviar.
the glass, so the vanilla honey in the glass, I sold it for $20 a jar and I sold out.
That's a perfect gift. I would love to receive a gift like that. I mean, if it was wrapped up and given to me with a rectangular 15-quart stainless steel water bath canner, I think that would be an amazing gift.
Well, and you know, like the jars that I
Same.
switched over to when I'm using now, if you had a honey dipper, it's perfect with those jars.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely perfect.
It's
So,
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
I just went right over the hint that was thrown out there. I heard that.
I didn't
It is.
I thought
the subliminal messages. When you say that about this water thing, whatever, and also say in there and a dozen donuts.
I think what
saw
you
a
mean
little-
by water bath canner is a brand new INSTANTVAP turbo.
But is it brand new because
Well,
it's used?
I
So
do
there's
have a
that.
video of what it was
Right,
when
it
it
looks
was
brand
brand
new.
new.
That's brand new.
Does that count? I mean, they are available for pre-order starting today.
Yes.
nature'simagefarm.com. All the models there. You sure you don't? I can put a
All
red
the
bow,
models.
a green bow, a gold bow.
You know what?
Yeah.
If you can get Maxent to make me a 15+ quart, I mean, it could be bigger as long as it fits on my Camp Chef. If you could get Maxent to make me it could be whatever quart size that fits on my 2-burner Camp Chef. Stainless steel quart water bath canner with a beautiful little lid. I would think about using
the shiniest lid.
vaporizer to help you out and get those.
That does
Get those
sound
vaporizers.
pretty nice. You know what I think I could do for you?
What?
How about this?
Look at that.
I mean,
I
that
cannot
is-
fit that over my
Why not?
Camp Chef.
I mean, why couldn't you? I mean, that is a mat. I mean, 15 quart. Forget about a 15 quart. How about a 150 quart? 150
Yeah.
quart water bath canner. I mean, made in America.
Like for real?
Like for real. I bet you could.
I bet I could use that.
Okay, this
Actually,
is
now you're
just
giving
getting-
me ideas.
I was. Why wouldn't it work?
Yeah, because the one that I saw, how much is that?
$9.40 on our website.
Are you kidding me?
Why wouldn't you just use that?
The 15-quart water bath canner was
It even has a basket.
Almost $200.
It has a basket
I
in here, too.
mean, you know,
Okay, we might have just thought of a secondary purpose
that's
for
right.
the Maxent mobile and capping tank.
Get that water bath canner back going.
Okay, I'll wrap that up. Actually, I've got one right here in the shop, still in the
Okay.
box. I'll put a nice, pretty bow.
Okay.
I'll make sure I stay under your good graces.
Listen, if you want salsa
Yes.
made on the shelf, buddy, you better make it happen.
I've
All
been
right.
seeing this rapid flash water bath canner real quick. It's been flashing on the screen. Subliminal. Trying to send you messages, Greg.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I'm the only one that can see that, but it's been flashing up there. I promise.
Do you remember that trip to Farm Fleet, Brian? Was that what it was called?
Oh yeah, Fleet Farm.
Fleet Farm?
Weren't we riding on like little Jeeps or something? What were we on?
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
still
gosh.
have all the pictures. You guys were in like the gardening section, and we bought I bought I bought seasonings and I bought extra canning stuff.
Yes.
And you know, it's just fun.
Was that when me and Brian entered the beefaroni eating contest?
You guys got what did you get? I had to like get you out of like the garden tools section because you were
Yeah.
starting to like dance with shovels and stuff. It was weird.
Yeah, we started throwing axes.
I
Yeah.
just remember getting on those. What were those little like toy
Jeep?
cars?
Yep.
Yeah.
They were like $5,000.
You know, I never
I
put
was
that
like, don't
video.
break
Brian,
that.
I'm gonna dig that video up because that is fun. There is some funny stuff right there. There's some high quality edutainment in that thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that out. All right, guys, we
Well,
got to stop this conversation because I think I'm in a little bit of hot water.
I see what you
See
did
what
there.
I
you did
just
there.
remember when the
See?
security
Okay.
guard. I just remember when the security guard came over. Though I told him, I said, "Look, I apologize. If anything's damaged, my name's Bruce Jenny. Just reach out to me. I'm in town from Alabama. Really don't know your laws up here, so."
I don't understand is
Hey.
how did Brian got out of those zip tie handcuffs in like record time? I think he watches like survival
The
escape
old-
videos.
yeah.
Yeah,
just-
you
You see, he was just running. I mean, he just do. Anyways, well, a few things that are going on here that we want to make sure that we get out. We've got the West Virginia Bee Fair. I'll actually be speaking there, and we'll have our booth set up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see everybody September 12th and 13th.
That's right.
We'll drop some links below. But the West Virginia Bee Fair, that is going to be so much fun. It's a kind of a packed September. A couple weeks after that, we have the MCBA conference down in Woodsfield, Ohio. We'll be speaking there as well. We'll also have a booth set up. We'll be speaking right alongside of our good friend, the shrew guru himself, Fred Dunn.
The kids love Fred. He's so fun.
So Fred and I are the speakers there. So that's going to be fun. That's right here in Ohio, just a little less than 2 hours away. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then from there, you know, the next big thing on the radar for me, in my mind, is the Midwest Honeybee Expo, February 6th and 7th up in Wisconsin.
Oh, you have it on the calendar.
It's even on the calendar. The stream team
Hold
will
on.
even be there.
It said 2, 20, and 21. is what they
EMBA, that's right after that. So right after the Midwest Honeybee Expo.
Okay.
Right?
EMBA
Yep. See,
is,
we got the
wow,
notes.
that's a packed February.
It's going to be a packed February. So we'll go up to Wisconsin. We're speaking there. We'll be set up with lights, cameras, and action.
It's a good
It's
thing
gonna
you're
be a lot
my
of fun. The
Valentine
stream
because
team,
I wouldn't
most
have time
importantly,
to.
The stream team will be there and will be a part of the speaking engagement there.
The whole
and
stream team?
The whole stream team.
Bruce is coming too?
Bruce is everything.
Wow.
It's going to be awesome. The stream team together to do a speaking engagement and just hang out and be a part of the Midwest Honeybee Expo in February. That's awesome. And then from there, we go right to, hopefully, if I can get it cleared, to the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers Association meeting conference in February. And I think Brian had Via Honeybees had the dates there.
Yeah, it's
you wrote them
this one.
down. There it is.
There it is. Put it up there. There.
EMBA February 20th and 21st. The conference, if Susie agrees, Nature's Image Farm will be there. A lot of fun. Whew. Well, Suze, thanks for jumping on tonight and cracking the whip and making sure I don't stay on here too late. You know what that means, guys? She's in a hurry to get me home. You know why? I've got a wall to paint.
And I have salsa to can.
What'd you think I was going to say?
Gotta get that couch ready too.
A 5-gallon bucket of salsa to can.
You guys have any recommendations on how to get a fitted sheet on a couch to sleep?
I'll have the kids put it on for you.
Oh boy. Well, next week, guys, whose channel are we going to be on? Brian. He's like, all right, Brian. Next Wednesday, 8 p.m., Castle Hives YouTube channel. Be there. This is getting out of control, guys. Out of control. Hey, we have a lot of big things to talk about here at Nature's Image. Look at that.
I didn't know he could do that.
They got the glitters.
He's got
and the
car was driving real fast.
What am I so old? I can't even. Wow. Why
You old?
does theirs do that and ours doesn't?
You can say that again. Sorry. Anyways, I'm going to stop it with all these weird buttons and things.
Yeah.
But look into my eyes, you will find what you mean to me. All right. Anyways, what was I saying?
I don't know.
I'm so enamored with
By
the
your own
idea,
gorgeousness.
this romantical evening yet ahead of us of me cutting in the wall and rolling the paint out and
you know why?
getting it all over the
Because
place.
I went and got bookshelves for the retired homeschool bookshelf that was there. That was a very inexpensive hutch that we repurposed for a decade. And now it's.
Wait, can I ask you just a?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's say.
Did you just shush me?
Yeah, I did.
You did not.
Sorry about that.
You did not.
Hey,
Shush me.
let's save that really good idea that you had there and all these other ones for some new editions of the Nature's Image Farm podcast featuring the one and only Susie. We're really excited about the direction of the podcast this coming year. It's going to be a lot more farming, homesteading, a lot more Susie. That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of really fun things in line with content, the direction of our farm, where we're going to be spending our time and putting our efforts, what that means for us and our bees and our family. We are really excited. God is good all the time, and all the time. God is good. And we just thank God first and foremost for what he's done in our life, the life of our business, our kids. You will know a tree by its fruit. And when we have the kids that are out there just stepping up in big ways to serve, to be a part of the church, to be a part of the community, to step up and be a major part of what we do on this family farm, it is truly a blessing. So until next time, we want to remind you to be the lighthouse and be the change you want to see in this world. No, wait a minute. There's two of us. We're supposed to share that line.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. As always, want to remind you to be the lighthouse
and be the change that you want to see in this world. We'll see you next time, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Hey, are you looking for honey processing equipment that's built to last a lifetime and actually built in the USA? Are you looking for the very best in wax-dipped equipment? Or maybe the beefiest wooden frames and foundation on the market? Check us out at nature'simagefarm.com and let's make Made in America great again.